What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. It is time for the first official upset alert video of the 2024 college football season. Are you guys ready? Is everybody ready for the first weekend of the college football season? I know week 0 just got underway with the college football season, but this is where the real season begins. Mainly tomorrow night, we got games coming up tomorrow, and then we got games coming up on Friday. Saturday mainly is the big day, and then of course Sunday we have one game coming up there. And then we got one game on Labor Day night. So we do have a lot of games, 4 days of college football on Labor Day weekend, which we like to start it, of course, on that Thursday. So with that being said, and with games starting up tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and give you my upset alert video here for week 1 of the college football season. And I've been doing this series now for the last couple years. If you don't know about this, what we do in this video is we take 8 games total, 4 games each, 4 games that are most likely to be upsets, and then, of course, 4 games that are least likely to be upsets. And in order for me to call it an upset, the spread has to be, single digits from 1 through 9 in that number range and everything. And if it's in double digits, that game is not considered to be an upset. And again, I just do top 25 versus top 25 matchups, and then also top 25 versus unranked matchups as well. So let's go ahead and get right into my upset alert games here for week 1, and we'll start from the least likely upsets to the most likely upsets. And we'll start here with this game. It's going to be South Dakota State and Oklahoma State. This game will be at 2 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday on ESPN+. So you don't really get to watch this game, which is kind of disappointing, to be honest, because I really don't think this is going to be a game that's going to be easy for the Cowboys. Yes, Oklahoma State is favored by 10 in this one. It's not considered to be an upset alert type game, but I think this game is kind of considered to be an upset because South Dakota State is not a bad team. Yes, they play at the FCS level, but they're one of the top programs at the FCS level anyway. So I don't really expect a blowout here for Oklahoma State. I think it could be a tough one here for the Cowboys in the first half, but second half, I think Oklahoma State probably will be, able to pull away. Maybe by the fourth quarter, maybe they win by double digits, 10 to 14 points, somewhere in that range. But again, I do expect maybe an upset here to likely happen. If I was an Oklahoma State fan, again, I wouldn't really sleep on this game. And it's not just Oklahoma State that has to play like an FCS team at the top of the level. Colorado's got a game tomorrow night against North Dakota State. I saw a spread for that game. It's not even really a big type of spread, like over 21 points. It is about 8.5, maybe 9 if I'm not mistaken either. So again, both Oklahoma State and Colorado both got really tough games against 2 FCS teams. So watch out for those 2 games, one here on Saturday and then one coming up tomorrow here with Colorado and North Dakota State. But again, this game will be at 2 o'clock Eastern time, and again, the Cowboys are favored by 10. Let's now go on to the next game. That's Fresno State and Michigan. This game will be at 7:30 Eastern time on NBC. Michigan favored by 21.5 points, and the over and under is at 45.5. So yeah, Michigan favored by 21.5 in this one. That's a very high number if I'm not mistaken. I think this game probably should be at least somewhere around maybe 10, maybe to 14 points, somewhere in that range by a couple touchdowns. Michigan's not going to be the same team as they were from last year, but we'll see how they play against this Fresno State team. Fresno State was a pretty good group of 5 team last year. I do expect them to come out pretty competitive in this game for a few minutes and then also maybe for quite a while, but Michigan overall is the better team. We'll see what that offense looks like for this Michigan team. I think they'll probably focus on running the football a little bit more in the first 4 weeks. And then when the weeks come and everything, I think their quarterback will finally get things going. But the defense for Michigan should be the big advantage in this one, and that should be the strength of this team as well. But again, we'll see how this defending national champions play against Fresno State. Maybe Michigan's overlooking Fresno State here, and you probably want to watch out for this one here if you're a Michigan fan, because Michigan's got Texas next weekend, and maybe Fresno State is a team that they're overlooking and looking ahead to next weekend. So watch out for this one. But Michigan, I think, should take care of business in this one at the end of the day. So Michigan and Fresno State here at 7:30 Eastern time on NBC. Next up, we got Boston College and Florida State, an ACC matchup here. This game will be at 7:30 Eastern time, and it will be on September 2nd. So, of course, that's the Monday night Labor Day game. It will be on ESPN. The Seminoles are favored by 17 in this one, and the over and under is at 50.5. Of course, Florida State played a game already this past weekend, got upsetted by Georgia Tech, so Could we see Florida State, back-to-back games where they get upset here in this one? I really don't think so. I think the Seminoles are going to bounce back here. Boston College really won't be a good team in the first half of the year, but I said in the second half of the year, Boston College will get better, and this is a team that you probably don't want to play in the month of November. If Florida State had to play Boston College in the month of November, whether it's on the road at home, I think Boston College will probably come out competitive in this one, but it's in the month of September. I don't really expect a competitive game. Again, I think Florida State will bounce back in this one. It's really going to come down to the defense to stop the running game for Boston College. That was the biggest weakness in that game for Florida State in that game against Georgia Tech. Again, can Florida State bounce back here and, show, the talent and everything, and also can they show why they are the favorites to win the ACC this year? Pretty tough schedule for Florida State in the first couple games, having to play 2 conference games, but it kind of gives them momentum going into the rest of their conference games for the rest of the year. But again, Florida State, they're favored by 17 in this one. I think just because they're playing at home in this one here as well, and they don't really expect Boston College to be all that great this year either. So I got Florida State and Boston College, a least likely upset here to happen. But again, this game will be on Labor Day night at 7:30 Eastern time. And again, Florida State favored by 17 in this one. Moving on to the last game now, the least likely upset to happen. It's Clemson and Georgia, big-time game coming up here between the ACC and the SEC on Saturday. This game will be at noon Eastern time on ABC. And this game, of course, will be in Atlanta, so kind of like a home game here for Georgia, but Georgia is favored by 13 in this one, and the over and under is at 49.5, so they're kind of expecting a low-scoring type game, which I think it's really possible. Both of these offenses, I think, will probably struggle to move the football here. These are 2 really good, talented defensive teams going at it, and these are top 15 teams as well. Going into this game, though, Georgia definitely, I think, is the better team, but I kind of won't be shocked if Clemson pull off an upset here in this one. The Tigers are very talented. It's just going to come down to their offense, though. Can Cade Klubnik get away from this Georgia defense? Can, Georgia put pressure on him? If Georgia puts pressure on Cade Klubnik, I think Clemson probably gets blown out in this game, but if, the Clemson offensive line does their work and, stopping that Georgia defensive line from pressuring Cade Klubnik, and I think Clemson's got a shot in this one, but I definitely do favor Georgia in this one. I think Georgia probably is close with Clemson in the first half, but second half, maybe the Bulldogs probably pull away. Maybe by the fourth quarter, it's Georgia. Their defense probably steps up. Clemson runs out of gas in the fourth quarter, and Georgia probably takes care of business at the end of the day, winning by 10 to 14 points. But again, Georgia and Clemson, that's a big game there. Top 15 matchup at noon Eastern time there on Saturday. And again, I'm kind of surprised that, it's a ABC game instead of an ESPN game, and also it kind of ends surprised that it's a noon game as well. But again, Clemson and Georgia, this is the last least likely upset to happen. Let's now get into the most likely upset alert games here for week 1 of the college football season for 2024. We will start here with Penn State and West Virginia. This game will also be at noon Eastern time on Fox. Penn State favored by 8.5 in this one, and the over and under is at 51.5. Penn State comes in as the 8th-ranked team in the country. Penn State's going to be a very talented team. They're potentially a top contender to probably go to the Big Ten championship this year. But they got to get past a tough test. This game, of course, will be on the road in Morgantown. That's a very tough place to play if you were a Big 12 team, but also a non-conference team as well. I think this West Virginia team is going to be a pretty good team. We'll see how they play against this really talented Penn State team. I wouldn't really be shocked if West Virginia pulled off an upset here in this one, but if Penn State probably loses this game, I definitely don't think there's a path for Penn State to make the playoff. Again, their schedule is pretty tough in the Big Ten. They still got to play Ohio State. They don't have to play Oregon, and they also don't have to play Michigan, but again, the schedule either way is going to be really tough for them for the rest of the way in the Big Ten. But I think West Virginia, I wouldn't really be shocked if they pulled off an upset here. West Virginia, I think, is a top 25 team, and also they are definitely a dark horse team in the Big 12. So watch out for this one to be an upset alert type game, and also if West Virginia could pull off an upset, again, that wouldn't really be shocking if, West Virginia pulled off the upset here. But again, I got West Virginia and Penn State. Again, this game will be at noon Eastern time on Fox. And again, the Nittany Lions are favored by 8.5. Moving on, we got Miami and Florida. This game will be at 3:30 Eastern time on ABC. Miami favored by 2.5, and the over and under is at 53.5. This is going to be a really good game. Both of these teams are very talented teams. Miami, of course, probably a little bit slightly talented than Florida is, but Florida has the home field advantage. I think this game is going to be really hot. I think it's going to be a really hot temperature down there for both of these teams. So both of these teams might struggle to score because of the heat and everything, but it is in Gainesville. Florida has the home field advantage in this one. I also wouldn't be really surprised if Florida pulled off a huge upset in this one. I think Florida does that. I mean, I've been picking Florida ever since the preseason to pull off an upset. I know Miami is clearly going to be a really good team this year, but it really comes down to Miami's consistency. If they can, stay consistent on both sides of the football, and if Mario Cristobal can, call the right plays, and also if Cam Moore can stay consistent as a quarterback here for the Hurricanes, I think Miami wins this game, and they're very consistently on both sides of the football. But if Florida, really forces Miami to turn over the football, and if they also probably try to run the football in this Miami defense, I think Florida probably wins this game and controls the clock here in this one. But it's going to be a very competitive game. I do expect a back-and-forth game here between these two teams. Maybe it's a high-scoring game, and it's also maybe a low-scoring type game, but I do expect a competitive one here. I kind of wish this was a game that was played every single year. That way it could start up a rivalry again between these two teams. So again, two Florida schools, Miami and Florida here at 3:30 Eastern Time. Again on ABC on Saturday. And again, the Hurricanes are favored by 2.5. Next up, we got USC and LSU. Top 25 matchup here. This game will be at 7:30 Eastern Time. Actually, it will be on Sunday, not Saturday. It will be on Sunday, September 1st, the night before Labor Day, so I messed up my graphic there. But this game will be on ABC. Again, it's going to be in Vegas. It's a neutral site game. LSU favored by 4 in this one, and the over and under is at 63.5. Expect a lot of points in this one. Both teams, I think, are pretty even on the offensive side of the football. The defenses, though, I think, are also pretty even. Both of these defenses really struggled last year. So I think it's really going to come down to both teams' defenses. Who has the better defense going into this game? USC, of course, that offense is going to be very explosive. They got a new quarterback, though. Both of these teams actually have new quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams both were really good quarterbacks for both of these teams last year. But now it's time for new quarterbacks to, step in there for both of these offensive teams. And then defensively, again, it's really going to come down to the defenses here for both of these teams. But we'll see how that plays out. Again, this game will be on Sunday night. It should be a really good one. And again, I do expect a lot of scoring points in this one. And also, these are two well-coached teams. Brian Kelly taking over at LSU. And then, of course, USC has Lincoln Riley. So both teams are really well coached, and they're very talented teams as well. They know how to use the transfer portal as well. So again, this game on Sunday night, right before Labor Day. Again, it's on Sunday night, not on August 31st. I messed up my graphic there. It is going to be on Sunday. So again, this game will be at 7:30 Eastern Time on ABC. And again, LSU favored by 4 points. We now go to the last game now that is most likely to be an upset alert game, and it's one of the biggest games coming up this weekend. College Game Day, of course, will be down here for this one. And that's going to be Notre Dame and Texas A&M. This game will be at 7:30 Eastern Time on Saturday on ABC. Texas A&M favored by 3 points in this one, so by about a field goal. And the over and under is at 46.5. So a top 25 showdown here between the Aggies and the Fighting Irish. Again, this is one of the biggest games coming up this weekend. Again, it doesn't really surprise me that the Aggies are favored in this one just because they have the home field advantage. The Mike Elko era begins this weekend. We'll see how this new Texas A&M team looks with a new coaching staff. I mean, the good news is they got the home field advantage, and they also are a very talented team and also a top 25 team as well. But Notre Dame is also a very talented team. That's why you're seeing them in the top 10. I think Notre Dame is a playoff contender. We'll see how good Ryan Leonard is coming up this weekend as well. I think it is a low-scoring game. I think it's a really big defensive battle, but I've been saying this ever since the preseason. Texas A&M, I think, with a home field advantage is going to get it done. So I probably do expect Texas A&M to pull off the upset here, but I actually wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame somehow pulled off a win here in College Station, Texas. Again, that's a very tough place to play here in the SEC, but Texas A&M and Notre Dame, it's the biggest game of the weekend, so this is my last most likely upset alert game of for Week 1 of the 2024 season. Again, this game will be at 7:30 Eastern Time on ABC. So those are my upset alert games heading into Week 1 of the 2024 college football season. Let me guys know what you think about these upset alert games. Which games do you think we should see upsets happen? What do you expect in this list right here? Which games do you expect upsets to happen? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports Channel.